The second edition of the remedy is now here, and you'll notice it looks different than the first edition. This edition was free. We gave away 10,000 of these. And just a little history about how this came to be. It's 2003, 2004. I was at Loma Linda, Brad and Dorothy Cole's home, neurologist out there. And we were having the first planning meetings for something called the Good News Tour. Anybody remember the Good News Tour? And in the first planning meetings, we were talking about this picture of God as creator, designer, healer, restorer, and how this other view of God that is often taught as God as dictator, punisher, judge, is so commonly viewed. And it was brought up that, well, there's this artifact in the translations. That all the translations have been done after Constantine converted and after the premise that God's law functions like human law. And so when the translators went to translate, they would legitimately and honestly see a legal problem when there really wasn't any. And if you don't get what I mean by that, think if I were to say, I have a frog in my throat, and now somebody's going to translate that to another language. They could translate, I have a lump in my throat. I have a tumor in my throat. I have a phlegm in my throat. I have an amphibian in my throat. Okay? I mean, they have to choose, don't they? And it can, and potentially it could mean any of those things. And so when you do translations, there's, one word, the word law. Does it mean rules? Does it mean principles like law of gravity? When you translate the word justify. If you're translating justify in another language, does it mean some legal accountability, which is often what's happened in English in our Bible? Or does it mean when you have your word processor and you justify the margins, it simply means putting what's out of order in order, setting things right. That's what it means. But if you're translating it, you have to interpret. Justify, does it mean this or does it mean that? And so what's happened in the translations, because they went to it with the assumption that God's law works like our law, system of rules that requires the judge to examine guilt or innocence, whose penalties must be enforced or else we have no justice, and therefore, has anybody accepted Jesus' payment for our legal debt or not? And this idea was accepted, so when they translated the Bible, they artificially wove in a lot of this legal language. So the remedy purposely comes at it as God is designer. His laws are the protocols upon which life are constructed to operate, and God is working to heal and restore human beings who are out of harmony, dead in trespasses, and have a terminal condition of character. And through Jesus is the remedy that fixes what's wrong with us. Now that was when we first did this, there was some concern. Well, you know what? People really don't like when you mess with the scripture, new translations and paraphrases. And so we did 10,000 and put them out there for free to get feedback. Let people tell us what they think. And they've been out for about 2 years now, and the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. Really, there's been no negative or critical feedback at all. And by the way, does anybody not have one that would like one? Well, there you can have this one. Okay, this is the last of the free ones, I think, that we have. These now are available on Amazon. If anybody's interested, you can get these available on Amazon. And bulk orders, just contact our ministry, and there's a discounted further pricing for bulk orders. But the difference between this edition and that edition is not only do we get feedback, but there is over 1,000 new edits that we edited. And so this is a much cleaner edited copy than the first edition. So.